Time now to check in with CoinDesk Global Policy and Regulation Managing Editor Nick Day, who is also the editor of CoinDesk's The State of Crypto newsletter. Hey there, Nick. So we've got a bit of breaking news. Mastercard announcing that they've acquired CipherTrace to enhance crypto capabilities. What's going on?
Yeah, Mastercard just announced via a press release that it has acquired CipherTrace. Details of the acquisition have not been made public at this time, but the move, it's a surprise move for sure. But it gives Mastercard the ability to track blockchains and the digital assets, in particular, that are launched on top of them. So, a press release said that's over 900 different digital assets, but Mastercard clearly moving to conduct more operations within the crypto ecosystem. It's already working with a couple of crypto companies to support different types of digital asset purchases and things like that. But this is clearly a sign of more to come.
Yeah, Nick, I'd love to hit on that more, but of course this is breaking, so we'll get more information on that. But I do want to touch on, of course, this big thing with the SEC and Coinbase. What do we make of this so far? What do we really what can we really grasp as to what's going on behind the scenes when it comes to the SEC, and why and what happened with their relationship with Coinbase?
Yeah, as far as the SEC is concerned, we've been talking for a while now about how the SEC seems to be gearing up to try and either be more active in the crypto industry or to better establish its oversight over different parts of the sectors, including, for example, crypto trading platforms and DeFi, stablecoins, things like that. And it feels like Coinbase is a big player trying to launch a thing that has already existed in some form or another. From various other smaller crypto companies. So it could be that the SEC is trying to create, is trying to plant a flag in the ground here and say, yeah, we think that this violates securities laws based on these factors. We think that, the reuse test is what applies here. And, from what I've seen online, there have been comparisons made between what Coinbase is doing and, for example, what banks might do. But banks are subject to a much stricter regulatory regime than Coinbase would be should it launch Coinbase Lend. And so the SEC may be trying to fill in the gap here and say, we think that, we're the appropriate regulator to look at this kind of activity.
So
as far as
this
relationship with
go...
Coinbase.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, go on. Yeah.
I was going to say, as far as this relationship with Coinbase, I think it's just the fact that Coinbase is one of the biggest players here. So if the SEC feels comfortable with a case against Coinbase, then they could use that as precedent if and when they try to go after other players in the crypto industry also offering these kinds of lending products.
Now, they have very limited resources. Do you think that they would take on, though, some of the state actions against the likes of BlockFi? We just had Chris Giancarlo on just a couple of minutes ago. Do you think that the SEC will maybe look at what they're doing with Coinbase and say, hey, you know what? We could do the same thing to BlockFi, which offers maybe something similar to what Coinbase was planning to offer, or are they going to leave that with the states?
I suspect they'll leave that with the states for now. As you said, the SEC only has so much budget, so many resources that you can dedicate to different actions. They're going to go for, the big obvious players first. They want to get that kind of precedent before they even look at some of these smaller, potentially more difficult cases or potentially, cases that will have less of a, for lack of a better term, reward for them. They want to establish, their bona fides and, if there's already 5 different states investigating BlockFi, so the SEC would just be an additional player adding to the fire. But what could the SEC do that, for example, New Jersey's state securities regulator isn't already doing right now?
And finally, we are hearing that former CFTC Commissioner Brian Quintenz is joining as an advisory partner on A16Z's crypto team. What do you think the significance is of that?
Yeah, I mean, for former Commissioner Quintenz, obviously this makes sense, right? He's been advocating for crypto. He sponsored the technology advisory committee while he was at the CFTC. It seems perfectly logical that he would want to continue working on, the crypto sector through a firm that has frankly, been making a lot of moves in the crypto sector recently, especially. It just closed its $2.2 billion crypto fund 3 a couple months ago. But, for Andreessen Horowitz, they have been really ramping up their hiring and their work in this industry over the last, I want to say, year or so, but in the last couple of months, especially, it's been bringing on folks from, they've been bringing on former government folks from both sides of the aisle. They've been bringing on folks from crypto startups like Coinbase and Gemini. They've really been ramping up their team. And my understanding is that Quintenz will only be, this isn't his full time. He's not joining as a partner. He's going to be, an advisor, similar to how, for example, Giancarlo was an advisor to companies like BlockFi. So this isn't going to be a full time role or anything, but it's definitely something he is working on.